Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to today's episode of Daily Betslip. Myself, Peter Dewey, and let's talk football, Peter, because football is officially back. Not preseason football, not Hall of Fame game. College football starts this week, and of course, the NFL still a couple weeks away. But we do have preseason to talk about, which is our game of the night tonight between the New York Jets and my Atlanta Falcons. And of course, we still have baseball. We are in the final stretch of the season. But with football season coming up, we're going to talk. Our special segment is going to be football related. Again, we're going to talk about which team is going to miss the playoffs. And don't worry, we aren't going to give out a pick that's minus 500. We'll give out a pick that is plus money to miss the playoffs and see what we can come up with. So it's myself, it's Peter. We got community picks. We got best bets for tonight. But as always, we will start with bad beat of the night. Peter, did you watch this weekend's UFC?
I actually did watch a little bit of it. I watched this fight because obviously it was a huge fight. I was shocked by the outcome, absolutely shocked, especially considering how big of a favorite Usman was.
Yes, wild finish to this fight. For those who don't know, the main event was a welterweight title fight between Kamaru Usman, who many people had ranked, and I even think in the official UFC rankings, he was the number one pound-for-pound fighter, taking on Leon Edwards. And this is why the sport of mixed martial arts is so exciting, because Usman was up 3-1 heading into the final round, well on his way to win. The fight had about 1 minute left before the final bell. Usman would easily won a decision, and then just like that was all over. Just like that, Usman's win streak was over. Just like that, Leon Edwards won the belt, connected on a head kick, knocked him out clean, didn't even need any follow-up strikes, and that was it. So if you're on Usman, he was a sizable favorite. But I know a lot of people had parlays where Usman was kind of the last leg of the parlay. You were probably starting to count your money. You were feeling pretty good. And all of a sudden it's gone just like that. I wasn't on it myself. I did see on Twitter, though, some people were shook. It was a wild ending. Unlike other sports where you need points and you got to make this big comeback and it takes some time, UFC, you can end like that. You can be losing the entire fight and then just one hit, and that's it.
It seemed like I saw a video on Twitter, and I believe it was like his manager. There was somebody taking a video of his manager, and they were saying entering the fifth round, they're like, easy money, man, easy money. And then he ends up getting knocked out like a minute later. And it's like just crazy how quickly it turned on its head. And also, like you said, like he almost just basically like that whole last round was just like just avoid the big hit because like he'd already won 3 rounds. Like it was the decision. If it was a decision, it was going to go to him. And that's just an insane finish.
Sometimes avoiding the big hit is easier said than done, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But that video was Usman's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, I believe, also known as Abdeslees, because he's the biggest scumbag manager in the entire sport. So I didn't hate seeing him being that disappointed, because that was easily one of the most characters in all of mixed martial arts. So I do feel bad for Usman, though. I do like Usman, but you got to feel good for Leon Edwards. Big win for him. He is now the welterweight champion. I assume the two will probably have a rematch with how long Usman held the belt. Usually, if you hold the belt for a few fights, you usually get that immediate rematch, especially considering he was winning the majority of the fight. But let's get into some best bets for tonight. Our best bets that we're going to focus on first, we're going to get to community picks, and we got Major League Baseball. We will talk tonight's NFL preseason game, but that's our game of the night. So we'll give our picks for that at the end of the show. And as always, if you're watching on Twitter, head over to YouTube. Let us know your best bets in the chat, and we can get to those as well. But let's get to the community picks that were sent in to us earlier today. Let's bring up the first one here. This one is from @Keynos Sports. Marlins under 4 total runs is 10-0-2 in their past 12 games. Yeah, I'm actually, this is not a pick I have on the show, but they're taking on the Athletics tonight. I am actually on the Athletics as underdogs, and that's a big reason why. They've averaged, I believe it's 2.35 runs per game dating back to the All-Star break. Marlins offense, not good. Not good, my friend. That's tough. That is obviously dead last in the majors during that span. So, you can take team total under. Like I said, I'm going to take the Athletics because I don't think any road team should be favored when you're not even scoring 3 runs a game, 2.35 runs per game since the All-Star break. And I think Jorge Lopez starts for the Marlins, and he's been bad lately. So I'm taking Athletics as an underdog in that one. But team total under is certainly a way to go if you just really want to key in on the Marlins offense tonight.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Obviously, the offense has been really bad. I think it's Edward Cabrera tonight against Adam Aller. I believe Pablo Lopez goes tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, I believe that's what it is. But I don't love Adam Aller, but at the same time, this Marlins offense, I mean, it's like a little league lineup out there at this point. They can't hit the ball. They have a bunch of guys. Like I will say, part of their collapse in the second half is they have a lot of guys that are hurt right now. A lot of their key players, but still, I mean. They're like you said, they're scoring less than 3 runs a game. So under 4, I don't mind that play at all.
Yes, you are correct about that. It's Pablo Lopez going tomorrow. But yeah, there you go. Fade the Marlins offense. Take the under. Take team total under, whatever you want to do. Let's bring up the next community pick for tonight. Staying in Major League Baseball, Redeem Perutka at Redeem Betting. Reds Phillies over 8.5 tonight. Do you have any thoughts on this one? It is Sesa going up against Noah Syndergaard. Any thoughts for Reds Phillies over?
Yeah, I don't mind the over here. I know Syndergaard hasn't been great since coming to the Phillies, and Sesa, I believe he started the year in the pen for Cincy, and now they're bringing him back into the rotation. He's a former Yankee who had his fair share of times getting rocked in like a mop-up role. With this Reds team, they actually haven't hit that poorly over the last couple months, but their pitching staff is still one of the worst in the league. So 8.5 with this explosive Phillies offense, I don't mind that play at all.
Yeah, Noah Syndergaard is a 4.5 ERA since joining the Phillies, at a 3.83 ERA with the Angels. So obviously has not been great since joining the Phillies. So yeah, so there you go. I don't hate the over on that. Not a play I'm going to do, but best of luck to you at Redeem Betting. Let's bring up the third community pick for tonight. Little all Atlanta parlay from Daily Alchemy at _the_alchemist. Braves plus Falcons money line parlay. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Falcons. They are 2.5-point favorites against the Jets tonight in some preseason action. Braves taking on the Pirates, so Braves pretty sizable favorites in that one. So a little favorite money line parlay, all Atlanta parlay. My biggest concern in that one is Jake Odorizzi, who has been brutal for the Braves since joining that rotation. Any thoughts on an all Atlanta parlay tonight?
I'm a little worried about the Falcons in the preseason, man. I believe they're 2-17 in their last 19 games against the spread in the preseason. So
1-0 in their last one.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But that is a little bit of a cause for concern for me. Obviously, Atlanta should win that game. The Braves should win that game, no problem, against the Pirates, even with Odorizzi. I mean, Roansy Contreras, and I'm going to talk about this in one of my best bets, has been just as bad for the Pirates this season. So I don't mind taking the parlay if you really think the Falcons are going to win. Preseason football is very tough to chalk up as a sure thing.
That is certainly the case. Even if I agree with the Falcons pick, nothing is a sure thing in preseason football. That's for sure. Okay, let's bring up the fourth and final community pick before we get into our best bets for tonight. Another parlay. Actually, I think we have two. We might have two more. I don't know. But another parlay here. Yes, we do have one more after this. Scott Sneed at Feed Me to Glory. Another parlay, but this one's a player prop parlay. Adolis Garcia to get at least one hit, minus 197, and then Paul Goldschmidt to get at least one hit at minus 251. And he says, I can't confirm this math, but he says that adds up to plus 110. So a couple chalky player props. That's certainly one way to bet the MLB slate. Any thoughts on that one as an ambulance goes off in the background?
Yeah, got a little ambulance going by my window. But I actually like the Goldschmidt one a lot. I know they're facing a lefty, Drew Smiley, tonight, and he just destroys lefties. I think he's hitting over 400 against lefties this year. So I don't mind taking him to get a hit. Adolis Garcia, they're playing Colorado, I believe. I don't mind it. He's been pretty solid this year. I guess if you're going to take like a parlay like that, you got to get two guys that are just to get one hit. I like Goldschmidt a lot more, though. I would almost debate taking like his total bases over 1.5 rather than relying on two guys.
All right, best of luck with that one. I won't hate on a parlay if it's plus 110, a couple of chalky picks. Best of luck, and let's bring up the final community pick for tonight, which I believe, yes, it is. It is from Cody Williams, my Green on the Greens co-host, which, by the way, reminder, right after this stream, I'll be going live for Green on the Greens for the Tour Championship alongside Cody Williams. And he is also on Paul Goldschmidt, but he's going to get a little bit, he's not going to parlay it. He's going to get a little bit more aggressive and just take him over 1.5 total bases minus 115. And just like you said, Peter, he's facing left-handed pitcher Drew Smiley tonight at Wrigley. Goldie has a 568 WOBA versus lefties this season, and a 554 WOBA on the road versus lefties. Value for him to get just 2 bases at these odds. Yeah, Goldschmidt has been on fire against lefties this season. I have no argument against that one. I know I like to play devil's advocate against Cody's golf picks. Not going to play devil's advocate today against his Goldschmidt pick.
Yeah, I like that one as well, for sure.
There we go. Those are our 5 community picks. If you submitted one and we didn't get to yours, feel free to chime in the chat and we can tackle those at some point during the show. But it's time to get into our best bets for tonight. We have 3 each in Major League Baseball, and at the end of the show, we'll give out our preseason pick for tonight. I will start with mine, and I'm going to go with a big underdog. And this is one that I think just has some value, to be honest, and it is the Angels at plus 210 against the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, are the Angels the better team? No. I mean, should the Angels be favored? No, absolutely not. But I think plus 210 is just too big of a number in this one. It is a battle of lefties today, and the Angels actually rank higher in OPS against left-handed pitchers compared to the Rays this month. In fact, the Rays have been kind of lackluster against lefties now for a little while. 20th in OPS in Major League Baseball against left-handed pitchers dating back to July 1st. So any team that's 20th in an offensive category against a certain type of pitcher dating back to 2 months, I don't think they deserve to be this big of favorites. Now, I will say, obviously, I'll admit it, they're taking on Tucker Davidson, who's not exactly a top-tier lefty, 6.75 ERA, but he's kind of an up-and-down pitcher. He's had 6 starts so far this season. In 3 of those starts, he had 0 earned runs, 1 earned run, and 2 earned runs. But then the issue is the other 3 starts, he had 5, 5, and 6. So a little Jacqueline Hyde here. Which version of Tucker Davidson will we get tonight? If we get the better version, we might be all right, and our bet might have some life here. So I'll take a shot on a big underdog. And like I said, Rays definitely should be favored. I just don't think by this much. I'll take a shot on the Angels at plus 210.
Yeah, I don't mind that. That's a pretty hefty price that the Rays are at tonight. I know the Angels are not good, but I mean, geez, Tampa Bay, they don't hit the ball that well. Like
right,
their
exactly.
Season long metrics too. Like they're in the bottom half of the league in OPS. Like they've kind of just the same thing the Rays seem to do every year. They like skate by with like decent pitching and they get timely hits. And you're like, oh yeah, the Rays are a good baseball team. But like overall, they just on paper, they like their metrics don't look great. So I don't know if 2-1 is worth a shot, at least on the Angels tonight. Like who knows where this kind of goes.
Yeah, it's baseball, man. Anything can happen in a baseball game. For a team to be priced as that big of a favorite, I know obviously the Angels are good, but the Rangers or the Rays haven't done enough, I think, to justify that price. So I'll take a shot.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all.
All right, go ahead and hit me with your first MLB play for tonight.
Yeah, so my first one's a prop bet in one of the late games today. I'm taking Julio Urias to pick up a win against the Milwaukee Brewers, plus 105. I was trying to find a way to back him at plus money. I didn't love his strikeout prop or his outs recorded prop because they were both a little bit lower than I expected, but they were heavily juiced. It was like minus 170 and minus 165. I just didn't want to, just didn't think it was worth the risk reward to go there. So instead, I'm going to take him to pick up a win. You look at his last 11 starts. The Dodgers have won all 11 of those starts. He has recorded the win in 10 of them. So he's been pitching deep into games, getting these decisions. The one game he did not record a decision, he only went 2 innings. It was by far his worst start over this stretch. Dodgers came back, ended up winning. I think it was a 13-11 game against Colorado. But other than that, he has been lights out over this stretch. He's got a 1.99 ERA over his last 11 starts. Hasn't allowed more than 2 runs in a start since July 10th. And something I think you mentioned on the show last week, the Brewers are horrible against lefties right now. They're 25th in Major League Baseball in OPS against lefties. So I think this lines up as a really good spot for Urias. Obviously, the Dodgers lineup has just been on fire. So I think if he gets you 5-6 innings tonight, he's going to be in a position to pick up a win. The Dodgers have a top 10 bullpen, so I think they'll be able to hold on to it for him.
Yeah, I like that pick. I mean, I'll just move right into my same pick for the same game because it's pretty much along the same lines. But how I'm going to attack this game is I'm going to go Brewers team total under 3, or under 2.5 plus 110. Sorry, so you're looking at plus money here. Urias just had a start against the Brewers. He allowed 0 earned runs in 5 innings, and then once they get past Urias, they have to face the Dodgers bullpen, which is 3rd in bullpen ERA this season, 1st in bullpen ERA this month. And as you mentioned it, and I've mentioned this about the Brewers all season, I'm like a broken record right now. They stink against left-handed pitchers. 26th in OPS against lefties this season, 29th in batting average against lefties this season. Fade the Brewers when they face lefties. There's several different ways you can do it. I like the way this year going. You're taking Urias to get the win. I'm going to go team total under 2.5 at plus money.
Yeah, I like it too. I always get nervous when we're on the same side, kind of with the same thinking here, but I feel like this is very sound thing with just the way things have played out this year.
Yep, for sure. Okay, hit me up with your final one more MLB bet for tonight, I think.
I got 2 more. You
got 2 more. Yeah, go ahead.
So my first one, I'm going to go Yankees team total under 3.5 runs at minus 150 against the New York Mets tonight. I know last week I said my Yankees are back. They might not be. They do not look good. 5-14 so far in the month of August. But the bigger issue has been scoring. Over their last 12 games, they've scored more than 3 runs just twice. One of them was in their win yesterday against the Blue Jays. Their other one was in an extra innings win against Tampa Bay when Josh Donaldson hit that walk-off grand slam. So they really just aren't scoring, and now they're going to face Max Scherzer, who had allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in 10 straight starts prior to his last start against the Braves. He got knocked around a little bit in that start, but he also walked 3 guys, which is very uncharacteristic of him. And you look at his last start against the Yankees, he went 7 innings of shutout ball for the Mets. So this is just a bad matchup for a Yankees team that's really struggling to swing the bats. You don't want to face Max Scherzer right now. He's got a 2.15 ERA on the season. Like this is just got the recipe for another low scoring game. The Yankees have Domingo Germán on the mound, so they definitely don't have the edge in the pitching matchup here. I like getting the 3 with the hook. I was seeing in some places this was just straight up at 3. So I'll lay the 150 to get the hook because I don't think they're going to score more than 3 runs in this game.
The Jays were so close to cutting that division lead all the way down to 6. But unfortunately, the Yankees scraped out that last game of their 4-game series, back up to 8. But yeah, to be honest, I actually kind of expected the Yankees to turn things around by now, but they have not. Worst record, I think, in August amongst all major league teams. Really not good. Not good at all. Don Play chimes in the YouTube chat, says, question, would you take Jets plus 118 money line tonight? Stick around, my friend, because we are going to talk about that game, and we'll give our thoughts on which side to back between the Jets and the Falcons. So we are coming up to that portion of the show in a little bit, but we do have a couple more MLB plays to get through. I have one more, and I'm going to go with the Cardinals minus 1.5 here. On the run line, minus 105 against the Cubs. I said, I think it was last week on the show, that I'm buying stock on the St. Louis Cardinals team. And now they've won 7 straight games, 8-2 in their last 10. First in the majors in OPS this month at 903. First in the majors all season against left-handed pitchers. Now they get to face lefty Drew Smyly, while also starting a lefty of their own in Jordan Montgomery. And Montgomery has allowed 1 total earned run in 16.2 combined innings since leaving the toxic franchise named the New York Yankees. Peter, you being a Yankees fan, how do you feel about how Montgomery's played since leaving the Yankees? Or even how Joey Gallo has played since leaving the Yankees? What's going on here? How have both of them played 10 times better since leaving that franchise?
Listen, the Montgomery trade made no sense. Brian Cashman's got to figure something out now because the Yankees need starting pitching. Like, they need consistent starting pitching. And for him to trade Montgomery for Harrison Bader, who is hurt and can't play right now, it makes absolutely no sense because the Yankees do need an outfielder right now because Aaron Hicks is terrible. But unfortunately, they traded for a guy who they knew wasn't going to be able to play until September. So I mean, that trade is going to go down as one of the worst deadline deals they could have ever made, especially with how well Montgomery's pitching. I wish he was still on the team.
Truly a disgrace of a franchise. So give me Montgomery, the former Yankee, pitching for the Cardinals tonight against the Cubs. St. Louis -1.5 at -105 for my final MLB bet of the night. And you have one more. Hit me with it.
Yes, sir. So we talked Braves Pirates a little bit earlier. I'm actually going to take the over in this game at 9 runs. It's at -105. We talked about Jake Odorizzi. He has been god awful since the trade deadline. 3 starts with the Braves. He's got a 5.93 ERA, a 7.27 FIP. He's allowed 22 hits in 13 2/3 innings. That is just absolutely abysmal. And then he's facing Roansy Contreras, who was out of the Pirates rotation, came back. His last start, he ended up giving up 4 runs in a loss. I don't think Contreras has been as bad. He's got a 4.82 FIP as Odorizzi has been since he came to the Braves, but he also is bottom 10 percentile in the league in expected ERA this season. So you know he's going to get knocked around. The Braves are one of the best over teams in all of baseball. They have one of the best offenses. And the Pirates have a bottom 5 bullpen on top of that. So I am a little nervous about the Pirates offense. They're not the greatest offense in the world, but I think they could probably give you a couple off of Odorizzi. And then you get late into this game. I don't think the Pirates are going to be able to hold this team down. So I'm all over the over in this game. I think 9 runs just way too little with this starting pitching matchup.
I'm with you. I'm actually on this bet as well. I gave this pick as one of my picks out on the Vegas Insider Show. It was on earlier this morning. I got it at 8.5 early this morning. Actually, it was late last night. I locked it in. But yeah, Jake Odorizzi, not only does he have a 5.97 ERA since joining the Braves, a 2.12 WHIP, which means, if you don't know what WHIP means, he's allowing an average of averaging more than 2 runners on base per inning. Like, he's kind of lucky that his ERA is only 5.97 against them. It could be much worse if some of those more runners on base get driven in. So he has been terrible. I love the over in that one as well. Might be my favorite MLB bet of the night, to be honest.
Yeah, it's I was just say, especially because the Pirates just can't seem to get out of their own way lately. They're 2-8 in their last 10. This just has the makings of either somebody's getting blown out tonight. That's just the way I feel like it's going.
Yeah. All right. Let's bring up the graphic here, a recap graphic to break down our picks in case you've missed some of them at the start. I'm taking a shot on the Angels as +210 underdogs tonight against the Rays. I like the Cardinals on the run line against the Cubs -1.5, and then the Milwaukee Brewers under 2.5 team total at +105 against the Dodgers. Peter, you got a similar bet going here in the back. Julio Urias to get the win at plus money there against the Brewers, under 3.5 team total for the Yankees, and then over 9 between the Braves and the Pirates. And like I mentioned, we'll do have 2 more picks for tonight. It is in the game of the night between the Falcons and the Jets. But before we get to that, let's talk NFL. Let's talk teams who we are going to fade this season in terms of missing the playoffs. Now, we could sit here and say that the Chicago Bears are going to miss the playoffs at -600 odds, but what's the fun in that? So the rule we have set is it has to be a team that has plus money odds to miss the playoffs. And we'll get into that right now. So, Peter, why don't you start us off? What team do you think is surprisingly going to miss the NFL playoffs in 2022?
Yeah, I'm going to take a team a lot of people are high on, especially Vegas seems to be high on them. I'm taking the Los Angeles Chargers to miss the playoffs at +160. I will say, I will preface this, you could basically take any team in the AFC West to miss the playoffs. I think the Raiders are actually out minus money, but you could take any of these teams, the Chiefs, the Broncos, or the Chargers. I don't think it's a bad bet, just purely because it's going to be extremely hard for all 4 of these teams to get into the postseason. That's just the way, even though they are good teams, and probably if you just took the top 14 teams in the league, those 4 teams probably fall into the top 14 teams, but they're going to beat up on each other in this division. They're going to all play 6 games against each other. I mean, a 3-3 or a 2-4 could be a death sentence in the division, unfortunately, with the way things look. And with the Chargers, they had an inside track to a playoff spot last year, and they kind of floundered it down the stretch. They let the Raiders beat them in the last week of the season and cost them that last spot. And I just don't know if the improvements they made defensively are going to fix their biggest hole. Yes, they brought in J.C. Jackson. Yes, they re-signed Derwin James. Yes, they brought in Khalil Mack. But they were a bottom 3 run defense last year. They allowed 4.6 yards per carry. They allowed the 3rd most rushing yards in the league. They did bring in Sebastian Joseph Day to kind of fix that defensive line, but I just don't know if he, as one addition, is going to be enough. They're going to face some teams this season that are good running teams. Even in their division, the Denver Broncos are going to run the ball. They have Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. You look at the Raiders, they're going to establish the run with Josh Jacobs. Like, this isn't going to be a scenario where they're going to be able to get away with having a terrible run defense. It kind of cost them at the end of last year in some of those matches. We saw them get absolutely destroyed by the Ravens earlier in the season last year because their run defense was horrendous. So that is a big concern for me. And then I also think their lack of home field advantage in Los Angeles. The Chargers just don't Chargers fans don't travel to Los Angeles because they're from San Diego. Like, they don't have a home field. You look at some of their games, home games, especially division games, it looks like they're playing on the road. So to me, I think when you're coming down, like, it's a slim margin which one of these teams is not going to make the playoffs. That's going to hurt them if they're playing more games that feel like road games than actual home games. And then the last thing, I just think there's a lot of good teams in the AFC where somebody is going to miss the playoffs that we're not expecting to miss the playoffs. So you look at it right now, I'd say the Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, Ravens, Bengals, Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders, Colts, Chargers all could make the playoffs. That's 10 teams. So now you're in a scenario where it's like, well, only 7 of those teams are going to make it anyway. I think from this division, there's going to be somebody who misses who everyone is really high on just purely because of the schedule strength. So give me the Chargers. They're at plus 160. I think the Chiefs were plus 170 and the Broncos are like plus 110 or plus 120. I think the Chargers are probably the best value here. So I'll take them to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't hate that. The main point I was going to bring up was your last point there, just how strong the AFC is this year. Much stronger than the NFC. It is kind of my team I'm going to talk about here in a minute is an NFC team. But the NFC is certainly a lot more top heavy. There's a lot more really weak teams that you just know aren't going to make the playoffs in the NFC. The AFC, they don't have many. And then there's even some teams that you didn't list that could be a little bit surprising this year. Teams like the Jaguars could take a big step forward this year. Teams like
I didn't even mention the Titans, and they were the 1 seed last year. Like, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I didn't even mention them in that list. So, like, it is somebody's going to miss the playoffs that we all think is a shoo-in to make the playoffs, and because that's just the way the NFL goes every year.
Yeah, for sure. The team I am going to give out, like I said, I'll go NFC. I'll go a little bit riskier here. I'm going to say the San Francisco 49ers at plus 190 to miss the playoffs. And the big reason why I think, their whole team comes down to Trey Lance. Like, is he going to be good or is he not going to be good? Is he going to be able to live up to his potential now? I'm not going to say he's not going to be a good quarterback in the NFL, but at the very least, he's going to experience some growing pains. This is a guy who hasn't played a full season of football since 2019, and that was in the FCS. He had 2 starts last year, and he wasn't great, a 57.7% completion rate. Is he all of a sudden now going to be plugged in as their guy and going to be able to lead them for a full season in football? And don't forget, the NFL season is 17 games long. You can't get off to a slow start and then have time to catch up later in the season. And they have a little bit of a tough schedule early on. They play Rams twice in the first 6 weeks. They play the Chiefs in there. Like, through the first 6 weeks, at best, they're going to be 3-3. And they do play in a tough division as well in the NFC West. Is their defense going to be able to completely carry them all the way to the playoffs while Trey Lance is trying to figure things out? That's going to be tough for them. And one thing that not a lot of people are talking about the 49ers right now is that they lost their Pro Bowl left guard, Laken Tomlinson, this offseason to free agency. When teams lose big free agents like a receiver, like the Packers did with Devontae Adams, everyone's like, oh, the Packers might not be as good. When teams lose an offensive lineman, people don't really talk about it, but this is a big deal for the 49ers. You're going to plug in a young, inexperienced quarterback in to start his whole first year, and he doesn't have the Pro Bowl left guard from last season. Like, that's a big hole in your offensive line, and now you're going to put a young quarterback behind it. So I just think they're going to get off to a slow start this year, and they're not going to be able to recover. So I think a plus 190, I think, is a decent bet for the 49ers to miss the playoffs.
I don't mind that play at all because obviously Trey Lance is a huge unknown. You also think about the NFC and, like, there is a path for them to miss it if some of these secondary teams do play well. Like, if you get Dallas and Philly from the NFC East, Minnesota and Green Bay from the North, and New Orleans and Tampa Bay from the South.
Atlanta and Tampa Bay from the South.
then you're looking at the Rams are going to probably win that division. So now, like that last spot, I could see coming down to, those last couple wildcard spots between Arizona, San Francisco, Minnesota, and New Orleans. Like, there's no guarantee the 49ers are better than those teams. I think that's a very fair argument. At almost 2-1, like it seems like everybody's putting them in as a lock. I don't think they're that sure of a playoff team. It would be a lot different if we knew like Trey Lance was a proven commodity at this point.
Right. Now I could see him, getting the hang of things halfway through the season, but it might be too little too late by the end of it. So I'm not completely out on Trey Lance. We'll see what happens, but I think it's just a lot to ask for him to come in and immediately be one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. So we'll see, but at almost 2-1, I think it's a fair price for that. All right, let's move on to the game of the night. Let's stay in the NFL. We are talking the Atlanta Falcons, New York Jets. The only NFL game tonight is my Falcons. They are 2.5-point favorites against the Jets. And also we do have the community poll, which we'll get to at the end of the results from that. But Peter, why don't you start us off? Because I know the guy in the chat earlier, Don Play, wanted to know about Jets money line tonight. What are your thoughts?
I love it. I'm taking the Jets on the money line tonight. So I think they're going to win this game. I know you're going to disagree with me, but the Falcons 2-17 against the spread their last 19 games. Not sure if Arthur Smith we don't have a big enough sample size with him where like if he cares about winning in the preseason, like a John Harbaugh. But the thing I think here is both teams kind of have quarterback questions. Atlanta's most likely going with Marcus Mariota, but like Desmond Ritter's going to get some play in this game. He looked good in the first preseason game. Never know how, a rookie's going to look back-to-back games. I think the bigger thing for the Jets is I think there's a little bit of a fire to be lit under Mike White tonight. It seems like Joe Flacco would probably get the nod if Zach Wilson can't play in week 1. But obviously Mike White got starts last year for them. I think he has a chance to kind of say, hey, I deserve to get a crack at this in week 1 if Zach can't play. So I wouldn't be surprised. That quarterback competition to me is now all of a sudden one of the more intriguing ones over these last 2 preseason weeks. I genuinely think it could go either way, which also means I think they get a long look at both of those guys. And both of those guys are NFL caliber quarterbacks. Not that Mike White's some great quarterback, but he has shown he can have success at times at the NFL level. Joe Flacco obviously won a Super Bowl. He knows what he's doing out there. I like backing veteran quarterbacks in the preseason. I just think they see a lot more than a lot of these young guys. So give me the Jets on the money line. I don't mind it at plus money, especially I was debating, just take the Jets to cover the 2.5, but like you can still lose it on a field goal. So I'd rather just take the Jets to win and just hope they pull it out.
So then breaking news to you, and this was announced just a couple hours ago. Maybe this will change your opinion. Joe Flacco not playing tonight. It'll just be Mike White playing for the Jets tonight.
Brutal. Joe, I can't believe I missed that.
They want to rest Joe Flacco because I think Zach Wilson might miss week 1, so they don't want to risk injuring Joe Flacco as well. So it is the Mike White show tonight, my friend, and that is
still kind of like that, though. I still kind of like that. Mike White's got a little chip on the shoulder tonight.
He was league MVP for 1 week last season. Remember that? That was fun. Who was that against? The Bengals?
Yeah, it was against the Bengals. Dude, what a season last year was. He lights up the Bengals and then they go to the Super Bowl. That made no sense, dude. No sense.
I think I want to double check it was the Bengals, but I think it was. But yeah, tonight is the Mike White show, and that is actually why I go.
I still don't mind it.
So you're sticking with your Jets pick no matter what.
I like I said, I think Mike White has something to prove in this game. Like if he wants to have a chance for them to maybe change their minds and start him in week 1, like he's gonna have to play his ass off in the preseason. So I don't mind that.
That is true, but that is I'm going to disagree with you on that one. That is a reason why I actually like the Falcons tonight to cover that 2.5-point spread because it is a quarterback battle in Atlanta going on between Ridder and Mariota. Like you said, Mariota's likely to get the start at the start of the season, but Ridder, he's not going down without a fight. He was very effective in their first preseason game. When they beat the Lions, 103 passing yards, 59 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Mariota wasn't in for long in the first preseason game, but he did complete both passes. I believe he rushed for a touchdown as well. So 2 guys going head-to-head. They look good in the first preseason game. They did win and cover their first preseason game against the Lions. I mean, there's not really much else to say. It's preseason. I don't know how long they're going to play most of their starters. I don't know when they're going to turn to their third strings, but I'll back the Falcons, especially because it seems like everyone and their dog is on the Jets tonight. So Anytime that happens, especially if it's going against my team, I take it personally. I'll take the Falcons. Am I going to bet on them a lot in the regular season? No, but I'll take them in a little preseason action against the Jets. Give me the Falcons -2.5.
I'm going to hold you to that. I'm not going to bet on them a lot in the regular season. I can already see it like week 2. Falcons are 8-point dogs. And Ian's like, listen, man, they don't deserve to be 8-point dogs. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, you're very right. I can certainly see that happening. But the community poll is on your side, Peter. We got the community poll has decided they're back in the Jets +2.5. That makes me feel much better. I will fade the community poll. I will fade you. I will take my Dirty Birds.
I'm hoping Mike White has a crazy game. I thought they were going to play Flacco a little bit tonight, obviously, so that kind of factored in. But I don't mind Mike White tonight. Like, why not? Why not Mike White? And I'm also like not sold on Ritter going to play back-to-back great games. Like, you never know. He's a rookie. Like, he could come out and have a lot of growing pains today. So give me the Jets with the point. I'll take the Jets with the points and take the Jets on the money line. Why not?
Double up on the Jets in preseason action. Why not?
That's the last time I'll ever say that. Double up on the Jets. Oh my
god. It was the Bengals. I just looked it up last season's the Mike White show. Completed 37 passes, 45 attempts, 405 yards. Unbelievable.
What a beast.
What a performance. All right. That just about does it. Peter's on the Jets tonight. I'm on the Falcons. Stick around because in 24 minutes time, I'll be going live with Cody Williams to talk the Tour Championship, the season finale of Green on the Greens. How about that? In the first episode, I talked about college football. I mentioned at the very start of the show. And Peter, you do have Let's Talk Football in the background. Well, tomorrow we can talk football because our very own Reed Wallach is starting his first episode of his college football show this year called The Early Read, which, by the way, unbelievable name.
Great
show
name.
For Reed Wallach.
Great name.
Very impressed by that name. I love it. So that is at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. I'm going to talk little week 0 action. I believe it is Ken Barkley is going to be the guest on the first episode of The Early Read. And then tomorrow at, I'll double check the time here, but it'll be Ben Heisler and Donovan Smoot. We'll be doing Daily Betslip tomorrow. I'm sure they will talk some NBA playoffs.
Yes.
Any final thoughts, Peter?
Big WNBA playoff game tomorrow. So definitely if you're interested in that, tune in because I know Donovan and Ben will be talking that one. But
yes, and that will be 5 p.m. tomorrow. So 6 p.m. tonight, Green on the Greens. 1 p.m. tomorrow, the first episode of The Early Read. 5 p.m. tomorrow, Ben and Donovan for Daily Betslip. I'm sure they'll be diving into WNBA. So that does it for our show. Thank you all for watching. Best of luck with your bets tonight. Gamble or bless, and we'll see you next time. And I'll see you in about 22 minutes.